All right, so what we're going to do here to get started is we're just going to see how to create a new Vue project from scratch with TypeScript. Now, the good news here is that this process is actually very similar to what we did when creating a React project from scratch with TypeScript. And really all that we need to do is tell Vue that we want to use a specific TypeScript template, and it will take care of pretty much everything for us. So what we're going to do first, though, is install the Vue CLI, because just like with the Angular CLI and Create React App, this is, the tool that we're actually going to be using to generate these new projects for us. So what that's going to look like is we're going to say npm install-g, and then we're going to say @vue/CLI. All right, so that's going to install the Vue CLI tools for us. And once that's installed, what we should be able to do is run the vue command. And again, much like with the ng command for Angular, this has a special command that allows us to generate a new project, and that command with Vue is create. So by saying Vue create, this will tell the Vue CLI to create a new project, and after that we can name this project, which we'll call something like TypeScript and Vue. And then, in order to tell the Vue CLI that we want this project to be generated from the very start with TypeScript, and now we're actually going to hit enter because the Vue create command will let us actually manually select all of the features that we want for our project. So what we're going to do here is we're going to scroll down to the manually select features option, right? You don't want to pick one of the default versions. And we're going to hit enter, and now you'll see that this allows us to select which features we want the Vue CLI to incorporate when it generates our project. So what we're going to do here is we're going to select the TypeScript option, of course, and that's pretty much all we need for now. There's lots of other options here, and that's stuff that I discuss in my other course on getting started with Vue. So if you're interested in learning more about these, I highly recommend you go take a look at that. But anyway, once you're done selecting those options, just hit enter. And the next thing that it'll ask you will be which version of Vue you want to use. I'm going to use Vue 3. And then it's going to ask if we want to use class style component syntax. I'm going to select the default of no for that, although you can definitely use that as well. And now it's going to ask us if we want to use Babel alongside TypeScript. Now, you'll see that next to this it says required for modern mode, auto-detected polyfills, transpiling JSX, blah, blah, blah. Basically what that's hinting at is that we definitely want to do this. I'm just going to say yes. And then it's going to ask us what linter format we want. I'm just going to say ESLint with error prevention only. And then we'll say lint on save. And then we'll say in dedicated config files. And the last thing it'll ask us is if we want to save this as a preset for future projects. If you want to save all of these options as a preset so that you can easily get started with a new project with these same settings, you would say yes, but for now I'm just going to say no, and that will generate our new Vue project for us. So this is just going to run for a little bit. And once it finishes, let's just open up that new project, which you can do either with file open or by saying code, and then the name of the directory that we just created, which is TypeScript and Vue. And there we go. We have the new project open in Visual Studio Code now. So if we start off here by taking a look at some of our components, what you'll notice is that inside the component itself, what you'll notice, first of all, is that in Vue projects, there isn't a special extension like TSX like we saw in React. When you're using TypeScript in Vue projects, the same extension .vue is used when we're using TypeScript as when we're not using TypeScript. But if you open up one of your component files and just hover over some of the things in here, you'll see that now all of these things have types, which is pretty cool. And furthermore, if you open up a file like main.ts, which is the entry point file for Vue projects, you'll see that these things all have types as well, right? You can actually hover over these things and see all of the data types that they're expecting, and you can see the return types, etc., which can be very useful when you're managing a larger project. So anyway, the last thing that we're going to do here is we're just going to run our Vue project real quick, and just like with a regular Vue project without TypeScript, the way we do this is by saying npm run serve, and this will compile our app into something that can be executed in a browser. And if we want to open it now, we can go to localhost 8080. And here, let me just open that up so we can take a look at it. There we have it. That is our new Vue app. And you can see that just in order to rephrase. And you can see that in order to make sure that we know that this app is using TypeScript, the Vue CLI actually included this extra title and TypeScript onto the ends. All right, so anyway, that's how to set up a simple Vue project with TypeScript using the Vue CLI. The next thing that we're going to take a look at here is how we can actually add TypeScript to an existing Vue project. So that's what we have coming up next.